One of the convictions behind Sing before it began was to bring together three groups of people, to bring together those who practice theology, those who practice artistry, and those who help congregations sing, worship leaders involved in the local church, and to have the three groups talking to each other, inspiring each other, and learning from each other.
As a young worship leader, I understood the need to improve my craft. What I neglected was theological formation, and that's one of the things I'm so excited that has been a value of Sing, is that the theological formation is there informing artistry and creativity, and how all of that focuses on serving the local church.
That's right.
It took me years to put, I still don't have those three things together, but it took me years to even see the connection between those things.
Yeah, and I find it the same with a lot of my friends who are musicians, you know, whatever area they're from, you know, they are so focused on practicing and becoming good at what they do and becoming brilliant at what they do. And they take theology, they're content in theology just to take strap lines or to follow things at a very shallow level. And so John Lennox said to me, you know, be the best musician you can be, but make your faith grow faster. And then even beyond that, one of the things we have struggled with a lot of our musical friends is they almost feel like the church owes them something, instead of just getting stuck into local church and being involved. So one of the things I love is the excitement of being involved in local church with all its mess. You're probably finding that at a whole new level right now.
Absolutely. Well, yes, I am. As a church planter, I'm seeing all of those things. But I'm looking forward to being gathered together and having musicians think about theology, having theologians think about artistry, and seeing how all those things serve the church. What a beautiful, beautiful aim that is.
Two of the things that I think most people will remember about this year's conference are the two recordings. So there's the Life of Christ Quintology, which we're making at the conference to come out in October, which is 5 EPs based on the five sessions: Incarnation, Cross, Resurrection, Great Commission, and Return of Christ. And the other recording, which is being launched at the conference, which is His Mercy is More, the Papa Boswell anthology. So you guys are doing a behind the songs on the His Mercy is More project, and then our guys were all doing songs on Christmas and Easter, so that people really are going into the Christmas and Easter season not scared or tearing their hair out, but excited that in the biggest season with the biggest crowd, we got fresh stuff.
Yes.
Which is important. But there's also so much of the technical. Stuart Townend is doing this whole thing on poetry and poetry and hymn writing. Sandra and Ellie are doing behind the songs in their thinking, and then Andrew's doing behind the resurrection letters. Talk to us about what you've learned from these people, which you would encourage to young songwriters out there coming.
Oh my goodness. From Andrew, the use of poetry, how to shape a phrase. From Sandra, like the purity in writing a lyric. I think she does a great job. Ellie Holcomb, her album Red Sea Road was like my favorite album of that whole year. I love how simple and singable and beautiful her melodies are. And so I've learned from all of those people.
Talk even more then about the wider role of the arts, because obviously we've Ross Wilson, the painter, advisor in the arts to Prince Charles. We've got David Kim, the concertmaster of the Philly Orchestra, Jack Redford, Disney composer and orchestrator of the last two Bond movies, and Bicentennial Man, so many of the great Hollywood movies. We got Trip Lee, the rapper, who's combined rap with theology in a way that I don't think anybody has. And I mean, I am just stunned by these people. Talk about how even looking out to their creativity can help the creativity of a local church musician who wants to write songs.
So I'm telling you, I leave Sing Conference every year inspired to go do better art, to write better hymns. I walk away feeling that what we do truly matters in serving the church and advancing the mission of God. How God works through the arts in all of those ways you just described. I think I am renewed and refreshed in seeing the importance of it when I leave a Sing Conference.
One of the big themes in this year's conference, and look, when we look at the life of Christ, is the importance of courage in our faith. Stuart and I in the early years sat down with his pastor and said, what themes can we write in songs? We were expecting him to give us like 6 themes, you know, that had nobody written about, that would be our little secret sauce that we could write and would be useful. And he said, actually, the problem is that people don't really believe. D.A. Carson famously said to our generation, he says, for several generations, Christian witness has been relatively similar in the colleges, in the home, in the communities. He says, but finally we've moved from Athens to Babylon. So the need to build deep believers. Finish with that. For a church planter, for a worship leader, how do we build deep believers who will survive, who will thrive in the next generation?
The way we build deep believers is by continually opening the Word of God in the midst of His people and teaching it in its entirety, in its depth and breadth, and continuing to stare at the glory of Christ in His Word. That's our only hope.
Well, we are so excited to get together to study and to sing and to celebrate His Word at this conference. And we're thrilled that you'll be there, Matt. Thank you.
Honored to be there.